The message came on a Tuesday. It appeared on every screen across Earth at the same moment. Televisions, phones, computers, and billboards. The aliens had finally made contact, and they were inviting humanity to join something called the Galactic Council. 3 days later, Ambassador Tom Reed stood in the United Nations General Assembly Hall, still trying to process being chosen as Earth's chief representative. The veteran diplomat had negotiated peace treaties and trade deals, but never with beings from another planet. "This is the opportunity of a lifetime," said General Adams, the military advisor assigned to Tom's team, "but also the greatest risk humanity has ever faced." Tom nodded, watching as the rest of his handpicked team filed into the room. There was Dr. Jane Wilson, Earth's leading xenobiologist, Marcus Lee, the technology expert, and Anna Brooks, a brilliant cultural anthropologist. Together, they would determine humanity's place among the stars. 2 weeks of intensive training followed. The aliens had provided basic information about the Council, a federation of 27 advanced species that had existed for thousands of years. The training materials showed gleaming cities spanning entire planets and ships that could cross galaxies. Compared to them, humans were barely out of the Stone Age. "Remember," Tom told his team as they boarded the alien shuttle, "we represent all of humanity. We go as equals, not as beggars." The journey took only hours thanks to the alien ship's technology. When they emerged, the Council station loomed before them, a massive structure the size of Earth's moon, glittering with lights and activity. Their guide, a tall blue-skinned alien named Krell, led them through crowded corridors filled with species of all shapes and sizes. Some walked on tentacles, others floated through the air, and many stared openly at the humans. "You are most fortunate," Krell said, his translator device converting his clicks and whistles into English. "Many primitive planets wait centuries for an invitation." Tom noted the word primitive, but kept his expression neutral. "We are grateful for the opportunity to join the galactic community." The council chamber itself was enormous, with tiered seating arranged in a circle. Tom noticed immediately that some species sat higher than others. Their seats, the humans, were at the very bottom. High Counselor Drevin, an ancient being with golden scales and 4 arms, welcomed them with rehearsed pleasantries before getting to business. "We have prepared the standard admission treaty," Drevin said, as a holographic document appeared before the human delegation. 27 civilizations have signed this same agreement. It outlines trade regulations, technology exchanges, and planetary protections. As Tom began reading through the document, Dr. Wilson leaned close to him. "Sir, page 17, section 4, she whispered. Tom flipped to that section and frowned. The clause granted council ships unrestricted access to Earth's orbit and resources for scientific sampling. Another section limited Earth's voting rights until they reached technological maturity, a process estimated to take 200 years. Further reading revealed requirements to share all Earth's scientific discoveries while receiving only approved technologies in return. Earth would be required to provide resources at fixed rates and accept council oversight of military development. It wasn't a partnership, it was a colonization. Tom closed the document and smiled politely at High Counselor Drevin. "This is quite comprehensive. My team and I will need time to review these terms thoroughly before proceeding." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Drevin's inner eyelids blinked rapidly. "Unusual," the High Counselor said. "Most species are eager to sign immediately. Humans prefer to read the fine print," Tom replied calmly. "We'll reconvene tomorrow, if that's acceptable." As they left the chamber, Marcus whispered, "Did you see their faces? No one's ever asked for time before." Tom nodded. "And that tells us everything we need to know about this council." Back in their quarters, the human team spread out the treaty documents and began to uncover exactly what the Galactic Council had planned for Earth. The human team spent the entire night reviewing the treaty. Their quarters, though comfortable, felt small compared to the vastness of the station surrounding them. Jane paced back and forth, while Marcus sat surrounded by holographic displays. It gets worse the more I read, Anna said, rubbing her tired eyes. Section 23 requires us to change our educational systems to match council standards. Tom nodded grimly. And these technology exchanges are completely one-sided. They give us basic space travel while taking all our unique research. General Adams slammed his hand on the table. The military restrictions are the worst. We have to reduce our forces by half and allow council peacekeepers on Earth. A soft chime interrupted them. Their guide, Krell, stood at the door with what passed for a smile on his blue face. The council awaits your decision, he said. Shall I inform them you are ready to sign? Tom stood up straight. We have some questions about the terms first. Krell's smile faded. Questions, but this is the standard agreement. Standard doesn't mean fair, Tom replied. The council chamber seemed colder when they returned. Tom noticed several new species had arrived to witness the signing. Their disappointment would be palpable soon enough. High Counselor Drevin spread his 4 arms in greeting. Welcome back, humans. I trust you found the treaty satisfactory. Actually, Tom said, we have some concerns. The technology exchange terms greatly favor the Council while giving Earth minimal benefits. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. A squat, purple alien leaned forward. All new species receive the same package. You cannot expect advanced technologies until you prove yourselves. Jane stepped forward. But Section 12 requires immediate access to all Earth patents and innovations. That's not an equal exchange. Your primitive inventions hardly compare to Council technology. Another counselor sneered. Consider it your entry fee. General Adams couldn't stay silent. And the military restrictions, Earth would be defenseless. Defenseless, Drevin laughed. The Council provides protection to all member worlds. For a price, Tom added. Unrestricted mining rights on Earth and fixed resource quotas that we must meet or face penalties. The chamber grew tense. Tom could see some counselors shifting uncomfortably, while others looked annoyed at the delay. Perhaps, Tom continued, we could discuss amendments to these terms. The reaction was immediate. Laughter echoed from several council members. Drevin's scales darkened with what Tom guessed was anger or surprise. Amendments, Drevin said, his voice low. No species has ever requested changes to the Standard Treaty. It is unprecedented. As they argued back and forth, Tom noticed a small, gray-skinned alien watching them intently. Unlike the others, this one seemed more curious than annoyed. The debate lasted hours. For each point the humans raised, the Council had a practice response. It's for your own protection. You don't understand galactic politics. This is how it's always been done. When the session finally ended, the gray alien approached Tom in the hallway. I am Tallow, he said quietly. What you did today was interesting. No one questions the treaty. No one. Why not? Tom asked. Tallow looked around nervously. Most species are desperate to join. The alternatives seem worse. What alternatives? Isolation. Or worse. Tallow glanced at passing council members. You should know, Ambassador. The council doesn't take rejection well. Tom thanked Tallow for the warning and rejoined his team. That night, they received a message from Drevin. The treaty remains as written. The council expects your signature tomorrow. No further delays will be tolerated. Anna looked worried. What do we do now? Tom stared out the viewport at the endless stars. We make the hardest decision of our lives. Morning came too quickly. Tom had barely slept, weighing Earth's future in his mind. His team looked equally tired as they prepared for the final meeting. We've discussed all options, Tom said. Everyone knows what's at stake. Are we in agreement? They nodded, faces solemn but determined. For Earth, Jane said quietly. The council chamber buzzed with excitement. Word had spread that the humans would sign today. Several new observers had arrived, eager to witness Earth's formal submission to galactic authority. High Counselor Drevin's scales gleamed under the chamber lights as he rose to his full height. "Humans of Earth," his voice boomed, "today marks your species' entry into galactic civilization. The Council welcomes you, as it has welcomed all developing worlds before you." He gestured to a floating holographic document. "The standard treaty awaits your signature, Ambassador Reed." Tom stood and straightened his jacket. The room fell silent, all eyes fixed on him. "High Counselor Drevin, honored members of the Galactic Council," Tom began, his voice steady. "On behalf of Earth, I thank you for your invitation." Drevin nodded, gesturing toward the treaty. "However," Tom continued, "after careful review of the terms offered, Earth must respectfully decline membership at this time." The silence shattered. Gasps and shouts erupted from every corner of the chamber. Driven's inner eyelids blinked rapidly in what Tom now recognized as shock. "This is unprecedented," Drevin stammered. "Perhaps you misunderstand the opportunity being offered." "We understand perfectly," Tom replied. "The treaty would reduce Earth to a resource colony with minimal rights. Humans will not sign agreements that compromise our sovereignty and dignity." A tall, insect-like counselor clicked angrily. "You cannot survive alone in this galaxy. There are dangers you cannot imagine." Perhaps General Adams stepped forward. "But we prefer to face those dangers as free people rather than as servants." Drevin's scales darkened to a deep gold. "You mistake protection for servitude. The Council offers guidance to primitive species. We came as equals," Tom said firmly, "not as supplicants. If the Council wishes to negotiate a fair agreement in the future, Earth will gladly return to the table." Tom nodded to his team. As one, they began collecting their materials. The Council erupted into chaos. Some members shouted threats, others huddled in urgent discussion. A few simply stared in disbelief. Tallow caught Tom's eye from across the room, giving a subtle nod that might have been respect. As they walked toward the exit, a slender counselor with crystal-like skin blocked their path. "You cannot do this," she hissed. "No one walks away from the Council." "Humans just did," Anna replied. They continued their calm procession to the door, ignoring the commotion behind them. Tom heard snippets of panicked conversation. "How can they be so confident? They must have hidden capabilities. Could they have allies we don't know about?" The walk to their ship felt longer than before. Council security followed at a distance, but made no move to stop them. Once aboard, Marcus let out a long breath. "I can't believe we did that." "What happens now?" Jane asked as their ship detached from the station. Tom watched the massive Council structure shrink through the viewport. "Now we prepare. They won't take this well." As their ship accelerated toward the jump point, they didn't see the emergency session already forming in the Council chamber, or the fear spreading among the powerful aliens who had never before been refused. The humans had walked away from the table, and the Galactic Council was beginning to panic. 6 months passed without a word from the Galactic Council. Earth held its breath, preparing for the worst while hoping for the best. Tom sat in the newly formed Planetary Defense Committee meeting, listening to reports from around the world. The room, hidden deep beneath Geneva, buzzed with activity as military and scientific leaders shared updates. "Satellite network expansion is ahead of schedule," General Adams reported. "We'll have complete coverage of our solar system within weeks." Jane nodded approvingly. "And the research teams have made progress reverse engineering the technology from our Council ship. We've already improved our energy systems by 30%. "Not fast enough," someone muttered from across the table. Tom understood their worry. Earth stood alone against possible retaliation from species thousands of years more advanced. Yet somehow they had managed 6 months of peace. Ambassador Reed, his assistant, called from the doorway. "Secure transmission for you. Priority 1. Tom excused himself and hurried to the communications room. The face on the screen surprised him. It was Tallow, the gray alien from the Council. "Ambassador," Tallow said, glancing nervously over his shoulder. "I risk much by contacting you." "What's happening, Tallow?" The council is in chaos. Your departure caused ripples. Talo's large eyes blinked rapidly. 3 younger council races have begun questioning their treaty terms. Others watched closely. Tom leaned forward. Any threats against Earth? The council is divided. The ancient races want to make an example of you, but others argue for renewed talks. Talo lowered his voice. My people admire what humans did, standing up to the council after thousands of years of unchallenged rule. The transmission ended abruptly. Tom immediately called for an emergency meeting. That same day, 2 more alien species secretly contacted Earth. Both expressed similar sentiments, quiet admiration mixed with warnings of council factions pushing for action against the troublesome humans. They're afraid. Anna realized during their strategy session. Not just angry, truly afraid. Marcus nodded. By walking away, we showed others it was possible to refuse. We've accidentally started a revolution. News from their covert sources painted a clear picture. The once unified council was fracturing along age lines. The oldest species who had founded the council millennia ago wanted Earth isolated or punished. Younger members, many with their own grievances about unfair treatment, saw humanity's stance as inspiration. High Counselor Drevin had called an emergency session, declaring humans a destabilizing influence on galactic order. His proposal to blockade Earth's solar system had failed by a single vote. 3 weeks later, deep space monitoring stations detected unusual activity at the edge of the solar system. Council scout ships, watching from a distance. Earth prepared for the worst, but the ships made no aggressive moves. They're assessing us, General Adams told the committee, trying to figure out if we have secret weapons or allies. Tom smiled. Our greatest weapon was simply saying no. Earth's unexpected defiance continued to send shockwaves through the galaxy. On distant worlds, species began questioning treaties they had accepted for generations. Ancient power structures trembled as the simple human act of walking away revealed their foundation of intimidation rather than true cooperation. In his private office, Tom reviewed the latest intelligence report. The council had scheduled another emergency session, this time to discuss revised membership protocols. A small step, perhaps, but significant. Sometimes, he said to himself, the greatest power is the willingness to walk away from a bad deal. Outside his window, Earth continued its daily life, unaware that its stand against the stars had already changed the course of galactic history. The Galactic Council's Grand Hall had never seen such disorder. Once a place of calm deliberation, it now echoed with angry voices as representatives argued openly. High Counselor Drevin struggled to maintain order from his elevated platform. Silence, he finally roared, his scales flashing warning colors. This behavior disgraces our ancient institution. The room quieted, but tension remained thick in the air. The human problem must be resolved. Continued an elderly member of the Eldar, one of the founding species. Their defiance cannot stand. I propose immediate military action. Talo rose from his seat, surprising even himself with his courage. Military action because they refused an unfair treaty. This is why they left. The treaty has served 27 worlds without complaint, the Eldar representative hissed. Without complaint, because no one dared to speak. Talo shot back. My world has provided resources for centuries while receiving minimal benefits. The humans were simply the first with courage to say what many think. The chamber erupted again. Drevin slammed his ceremonial staff against the floor, the sound echoing like thunder. Council is suspended until tomorrow, he declared. This chaos solves nothing. Meanwhile, on Earth, Tom reviewed the latest updates from their spy drones near the council station. Anna had cleverly hidden tiny observation devices on their ship during their departure. The council splitting into factions. Tom noted, studying the footage of ships from different species forming separate groupings around the station. General Adams nodded. Our intelligence suggests 3 main groups. The ancients who want to punish Earth, the reformers who support renegotiation, and the cautious who just want to maintain stability. And military preparations? Tom asked. Minimal so far, the general replied. They're still arguing too much to organize a fleet. Marcus burst into the room, excitement clear on his face. It worked. The prototype worked. The gravity shield? Tom asked, hope rising in his chest. Yes, we reversed engineered it from the Council ship's data. We can now generate a field that deflects incoming objects. It's small scale but proves the concept. Jane followed close behind. And the medical team has replicated their cellular regeneration technology. We're making breakthroughs weekly now. Tom allowed himself a small smile. So we're not as helpless as they thought. Back at the Council station, Dreven met secretly with leaders from each faction in his private chambers. This division weakens us all, he argued. The humans must be brought back into discussions before more damage is done. They walked away. Protested the Eldar representative. No species has ever dared. Talos spoke carefully. Perhaps that is the problem. Perhaps the Council has forgotten its original purpose. Cooperation between equals. Equals. The Eldar laughed bitterly. Some species are naturally superior. Yet these primitive humans outwitted us all, noted a representative from the trading worlds. Our reconnaissance shows they've made remarkable progress with technology. Several colony worlds have already reached out to them for direct trade agreements, bypassing Council protocols. Dreven's scales paled. Without Council control, this is worse than I feared. The old ways are failing, Talos said. The humans exposed weaknesses in our structure that have existed for centuries. A new voice joined the conversation. The ancient and rarely heard leader of the Archivist species. In the Council's first age, the Archivist spoke slowly. All members had equal voice. The hierarchy came later, with conquest disguised as protection. Silence followed this revelation. What do you propose? Dreven finally asked. Contact the humans, the Archivist said simply, but not to demand, to invite. On Earth, Tom received the unexpected message. The Council requested humanity's return to negotiations, this time with terms open for discussion. It's a trap, General Adams warned. Perhaps, Tom agreed, or perhaps they're finally ready to talk as equals. He drafted his response carefully. Earth would return to discussions, but on neutral ground, not Council territory. And this time, they would bring their own treaty draft. The neutral meeting place was a space station at the edge of Earth's solar system. Built in just 3 months using reverse-engineered Council technology, it impressed even the alien delegates who arrived in their sleek ships. Tom stood at the viewing window, watching as the Council representatives docked. His team had expanded to include Earth's best scientists, diplomats, and military strategists. This time, they were prepared. They're scanning our station, Marcus warned, checking his instruments, looking for weapons, probably. Let them look, General Adams replied. They'll find exactly what we want them to see. The first representatives to enter were led by High Counselor Dreven, his golden scales slightly dulled with age and stress. His eyes widened slightly at the station's advanced design. Impressive for such a short time, he commented, trying to sound casual. Tom nodded. Earth has been busy. The meeting room featured a circular table with equal seating for all participants, a deliberate contrast to the Council's tiered chamber. Talo arrived with several other mid-tier species, forming what was now openly called the Reformed Coalition. The Eldar representative looked displeased with the arrangement, but took his seat without comment. The atmosphere was tense as all parties settled in. Earth appreciates this opportunity for renewed discussion, Tom began. We've prepared our proposal for a fair relationship between Earth and the galactic community. He activated a holographic display showing the human terms. Fair trade agreements with set prices for both sides, shared technology development with equal access to results, and explicit guarantees of Earth's full sovereignty. This is unprecedented, Dreven said carefully. So was walking away, Tom replied. Yet here we are. The Eldar representative scoffed. You ask for equal treatment with species thousands of years more advanced. Your arrogance is remarkable. Is it arrogance to expect fair treatment? Jane asked. Our world may be younger, but our ideas and potential are valuable. We've already improved several council technologies. This claim brought surprised murmurs from the delegates. Impossible. The Eldar insisted. Tom nodded to Marcus, who activated another display. It showed the improved gravity shield Earth had developed, now 30% more efficient than the council version. We don't claim to match your total knowledge, Tom explained. But fresh perspectives often see solutions that tradition misses. Several technical representatives leaned forward with obvious interest. Tom knew their scientists would be eager to examine Earth's modifications. Beyond technology, Anna continued, Earth offers cultural exchange, new art forms, and philosophical perspectives developed independently from council influence. Talo and his coalition voiced their support for Earth's terms. Two other species that had been quiet partners of the council for centuries cautiously indicated interest in similar arrangements. The Eldar representative pounded the table. This undermines thousands of years of established order. An order that benefited some while exploiting others, Talo responded. The humans aren't destroying the council. They're offering a path to make it stronger through true cooperation. The negotiations continued for 3 days. Earth stood firm on core principles while showing flexibility on implementation details. Several council species openly supported the human position, further fracturing the once unified galactic power. On the final day, Drevin requested a private meeting with Tom. You've accomplished something remarkable, the High Counselor admitted. In all my centuries, I've never seen the council change direction so dramatically. Change was overdue, Tom replied simply. My advisors tell me we have two choices, Drevin continued. Fight to maintain the old system and risk losing everything, or adapt to this new reality you've created. And your decision? Drevin's scales shifted to a pale gold, a sign of resignation. The council will accept most of your terms. We will create a new category of association. Earth will be the first sovereign associate rather than a standard member. Tom allowed himself a small smile. That sounds like a promising start. As they returned to the main chamber, Tom knew this was just the beginning. The galaxy was about to change forever. 1 year after the negotiations, Tom stood in the newly redesigned council chamber. Gone were the tiered seats that had once physically displayed each species' rank. In their place was a circular arrangement where all representatives sat at the same level. Quite a change, Talo remarked, joining Tom at the entrance. Tom nodded, from walking away to changing the galaxy. Not bad for a primitive species. The signing ceremony for Earth's sovereign associate status was scheduled to begin in 1 hour. Already, representatives from all 27 council species had arrived, along with observers from a dozen non-council worlds interested in the new arrangement. 7 other species have already requested similar terms, Talo said quietly. My world will be next. The old power structure is crumbling faster than anyone predicted. The center of the chamber now featured a round table where the actual signing would take place. Above it floated holograms showing the council's new principles: mutual respect, fair exchange, and sovereignty protection. Jane approached with the final treaty document. The technical teams just approved the last amendments. The technology sharing agreement is truly equal now. General Adams looked more relaxed than Tom had ever seen him, and the Mutual Defense Clause specifically prohibits military presence without express invitation. Earth's security is guaranteed without compromise. As the ceremony began, High Counselor Drevin addressed the assembled delegates. His scales now showed the blue-gold mix of formal occasions, but Tom noticed the elder alien seemed less rigid, almost energized by the changes. Today marks not just Earth's official partnership with the galactic community, Drevin announced, but the beginning of a new council era. The Sovereign Associate Framework represents our commitment to true cooperation between worlds. Tom signed the document with a pen made on Earth, a small but deliberate touch. The chamber erupted in applause as representatives from multiple worlds rose to their feet. Later, during the celebration, Marcus showed Tom the latest data from Earth's scientific teams. Our joint research projects with 3 council worlds have already yielded breakthroughs in clean energy and medical technology. Turns out cooperation really does work better than exploitation. Anna laughed. Who would have thought? 17 former colonies have formed their own coalition, she added. They're using our treaty as a template to renegotiate their terms. The council can't stop the momentum now. Tom watched as species that had once barely acknowledged each other now engaged in animated conversation. Earth diplomats mingled freely, no longer treated as newcomers, but as valued partners who had changed galactic politics forever. Drevin approached Tom with 2 glasses of a shimmering blue liquid. A toast, Ambassador Reed, to unexpected outcomes. Tom accepted the drink. I admit I'm surprised you adapted so quickly. I expected more resistance. The Council has survived for thousands of years by evolving when necessary, Drevin replied. Though never quite this dramatically. He paused. You know, when you walked away, we truly panicked. Nothing in our experience prepared us for that moment. Sometimes the greatest power is being willing to leave a bad deal, Tom said. Drevin's scales rippled in what Tom now recognized as thoughtful agreement. A lesson we needed to learn. The old council was becoming stagnant, maintaining power through intimidation rather than true leadership. As Earth's team prepared to return home, Tom took a final look at the transformed chamber, where once Earth would have occupied the lowest tier. Humans now stood as equals with species that had traveled the stars for millennia. Ready to go? Jane asked. Tom nodded. Our work here is done for now. As their ship departed, the council station gleamed against the backdrop of stars. No longer a symbol of rigid hierarchy, but of a new galactic order where even the youngest worlds had a voice. All because humans had dared to walk away from the table.